Okay, great. Okay, so this is our short 20-minute practice in seated position. So first I'm going to show how to transition into seated position from supine. So I'm just going to take a hold of the feet as we had them here, and I'm going to come forward in this posture I call sumo. So it's sort of like the Japanese sumo wrestler. And you want to get nice and low and then rest the feet on the thighs and then ask for the hands. Hold my wrists. I'm going to breathe in and we breathe out together. And this is just a gentle stretch. And then down. So first one goes pretty well. Second one, we're going to bend the knees, cross the ankles, step in. And then once she's in her seated position, again, grabbing the wrists, breathe in and out. And then I'm just going to step back, bring her up into seated. And if you like, you can sit up on something. I always find it nice to sit up on a bolster, or a little bit of height is always a good thing. Okay, so here we are. We're going to work on the shoulders. I'm just going to take my hands. There's 3 variations of this first one. So fingers pointing out, fingers pointing forward, and fingers pointing back. And just depends on what feels right. You're going to just do some gentle palming of the shoulders. These ones feel so nice. You can come all the way to the base of the neck and then back out to the tips of the shoulders. Now there's 3 points that we thumb on the neck here. So one is at the acromion process, which is a V-shaped bone. And we're going to take the thumb just in between that bone. So this is point 1. And I'm going to just gently press the point. The second point is on the trapezius, on the meaty part of the muscle. You'll feel it. It's right at the top of the shoulder. And I'm going to press this point. And then, Patricia, you can bow your head, chin to chest, look down. And she'll feel a stretch and then look up. And I can press a little deeper when she looks up, and then center. And then turn your head to the right. And over to the left. And so she controls the stretch here. And back to center. Third point is right at the base of the neck on the front side. And it kind of takes a little practice to get it. So it's right in front of that nice bodybuilder muscle. And I'm going to hold point 3 and then look down. She'll feel a little stretch and look up. Nice. And then to the right, little pull. And to the left. And I'm just holding the point, and she does the stretch. So that's point 3, point 2, and point 1. So we just do the head movements on point 2 and 3, and then back to palming. And that gets us started. Such a nice way to begin. Okay, then I'm going to take both hands, bring our arms up overhead, and you can interlock your palms. I'm going to hold onto the wrists, turn gently, and I'm just going to give her a little lift, stretch, and then lean back. And this one, you just want to be very gentle, depending on how they are. You're going to use your back side of their leg, and just give a little press and lift. And then bending the elbows, hands behind the head. And then reaching in front, I'm going to give gentle twists to the left. Supporting at the back of the body with the legs, and then twists to the right. Very, very simple, very, very effective. Okay, releasing one side down. I'm going to start on the right side. So it's my right hand, interlock the fingers with her right hand. Now this one is a little tricky to get into depending on the size. We want the hip to be right at the hip. We're going to bend and link the armpits. So this one is a little bit tricky to get into. It takes a little while, a little bit of practice. But I've got her hand here, and I'm holding my other hand on her shoulder. I'm going to press down and pull. And this can be a lot, depending on how flexible they are. So I just support the elbow to stay close to the midline. So I'm going to push down and pull. And I like these ones. I think they feel really great. I usually just do about 3, depending on how it's received. You know, if the person's really uncomfortable here, you might have to change before that. So in the next transition, the left hand comes to the back of the wrist. I'm going to release the right hand out, bend the hand, and then come around behind. And then I'm going to use my right hand to just work down the tricep. So I'm pulling up gently. My left hand is just pinning. I'm going to work a little rotation. So this is actually external rotation. It feels like internal rotation, but it's actually rotating the arm externally. And you can kind of just work with your palming on the tricep. Third part, I'm going to turn my body. So I'm turned to the opposite side. This hand stays the same, and then right hand comes up and grabs the wrist. Now this one's a little bit tricky. So once I've got it, I'm going to hold her wrist. I'm going to take my elbow just behind the scapula, top of the trap, and then just a little pull. And I've got a very flexible model here. So she's pretty open, pretty nice, pretty easy delivery. I'm going to work down the edge of the scapula. There are 3 points along the flat inner edge between the scapula and the spine. And if she's okay there, I'm going to release. Take the hand now behind the back. Turn again. Place my knee into her palm. Cup the shoulder. And then with my thumb, just gently press and pull the shoulder back. And she'll twist a little. And there is kind of this straight line of the scapula, and then there's a corner at the bottom. So what I'm doing is I'm pressing underneath the scapula and pulling the scapula back on top of my thumb. So you want to see if you can get underneath. It's not easy to get under some people's scapula if they have a really tight subscapularis. You might just get your thumb just under the edge of it, which is fine. So we go down and up. And then grabbing a hold of the wrist, release it. Give her back her arm. And then, of course, working on the other side. So the other side, because it's the left side, it takes a little more practice. So make sure if you are doing this, that you do both sides every time. So you kind of learn to get both sides. So I'm going to get my armpit into her armpit. Gently holding on interlocked palms. I'm going to guide the elbow in, push down, and pull. And if there's shoulder injury in here, or if this isn't tolerated, you can skip it. You could do any one of these 4 moves that are opening the shoulder. And I'm gently working with my other hand to do the massage as I leave or pull. Okay, transition here. I take my hand to the back of the wrist, come on out, bend the elbow, and then I'm going to work down the tricep. And I'm rotating this way, which is an external rotation of the shoulder. So I'm spinning just a little bit. And I like to use my clamshell here. I find it works great. Okay, third one, I'm going to bend the elbow 90 degrees. This hand doesn't change. Other hand comes in. I turn my body, elbow to the soft tissue, and I'm just going to leave or pull. These take some practice, so don't get discouraged if at first you don't succeed. Just keep trying each one, and eventually you find it. And I'm on the soft tissue here, between the spine and the shoulder blade, with a very, very flexible, very flexible shoulder. So you might not get that much movement. We're going to take the hand behind. Pretty nice to have a flexible model. I'm going to pin her hand. This side I cup the shoulder, my thumb to the top of the shoulder blade, and I'm just going to give her a little twist. The thumb will kind of come underneath. There's some great points under here, great for detox. And then gently grabbing the wrist and Give her her arm back. And then both hands come on back. This one, you'll notice they'll either go internally and you can kind of feel them wanting to grab your wrist this way, or they'll go external and they'll want to grab your wrist this way. This particular model, I'm not sure which one she prefers. I think this one. And you can hold my wrist, Patty, good. So once you've got a good grip, try not to pull on their arms because you'll pull them off balance, but keep them nice and upright, and we're just going to take the feet and just gently foot walking. I'm going to stay on the middle back with the balls of my feet. This can feel really, really nice. And you can use the pinky toe edge just on the outer shoulder. So I'm just going to come up and give her shoulders a little massage with the outer blade of my pinky toe edge. So I'm just kind of getting into that nice muscle tissue at the back of the shoulder. And she's actually getting a pretty good shoulder and chest massage here. And then back down. And give her arms back, and then I'll just ask you, Patty, to come off of your seat cushion. This next one is a transition move. You'll have to try this one more than once. So we'll take the toes to the base of the sacrum, and you can lean back your head into my hand, and you're going to just lean back into me. I'm just gently coming back. I'm going to push with my feet, widen my knees, and bring her head down in between. From here, both hands nice and warm, just to the tops of the shoulders, and a little press. I'm going to use 3-finger presses just along underneath the collarbone. This is a great place to practice the points of the neck. And then I'm going to kind of scoop my hands, both hands together underneath, and kind of come down the back of the neck. So you can reach the right hand to the left side and the left hand to the right side. So I'm going to reach across the spine and work down the neck. I call this one digging for gold. Reaching down and then coming up alongside the spine. As I come up on the neck, I'm going to use 3 fingers on either side of the neck here and just gently press up. And you'll see if you do this one correctly, their chin will lift a little. So I'm just using 3 fingers, I'm pressing straight up and looking for that little lift of her chin. And I can go up and down. And then I'll massage a little bit through the occipital ridge, the front of the ears, and then all the way up the brow to the top of the crown. And then just using my thumbs, a little pressure on the very top of the head, Bai Hui point. A couple of breaths here. And then I'll bring my palms together, pressing gently on the chest and rolling. And these ones are really nice. Down the front of the heart. And then lastly, warming the palms and cupping them over the ears. Count to 3. And release. One of the things one of my teachers taught me to finish is 1 fingertip to the center of the brow, 1 thumb to the center of the collarbone, and 1 finger to the center of the heart. Connecting mind, body, spirit.